Dr. Tracy Page, and welcome to Health Made Easy, where we discuss topics focused on hormonal health, weight loss, and wellness. Yes, you heard me. I want to make being healthier easier. Don't get me wrong, we all have to do the work, myself included, but let's make being healthy less complicated. I'll provide clear, simple, and actionable steps that you can implement into your daily life. Really, who doesn't want to feel better? If you're ready to increase your energy, optimize your well-being, and restore your health, then listen up. I love helping my patients and listeners optimize their health and clear away the brain fog, shed the excess weight, improve their mood, and really change the way they age. I am a triple board certified physician, and I created Health Made Easy just for you. Let's get started on today's topic. Hi, welcome to episode number 11. So I titled this episode, What Would Your Future Self Do When It Comes to Health, Weight, Wellness, and Life? And it's an interesting question. I just want you to think about your future self. Have you ever heard that topic before? Have you ever been asked that question, maybe in an interview? Like, what would your future self tell you? What are 3 things that you learned? If you could look ahead, a lot of times they'll say, where will you be in 5 years? But another way to say it is, what would your future self want you to do or tell you to do? Or where would you be? So this concept of future self first came up for me when I was actually going through the life coach school training program. And they talked about the concept of future self and envisioning your future self and how would you act and what would you do. And then I just recently saw an article in Forbes magazine called, What Would Your Future Self Want You to Do? So it kind of brought it all up for me again. And I thought it would be a great topic to talk about today. And this may be a brief podcast, but it's pretty powerful when you think about what we're going to talk about. So you may want to prepare yourself to not really like the answers that you come up with or be uncomfortable with even talking or thinking about it, because when we talk about our future self, we have to kind of look at the future and say, well, where are we going to be? What are we going to be like? What have we done? What have we not done? Who have we touched? Who have touched us? Like what has affected us in our life? And so sometimes it can be hard to go there because it really helps us and makes us examine where we are and what else do we want to do in our lives. So the life part of this really does touch a chord with me because I've made some big decisions in my life. And also I've made some indecisions, like failed to act, which is a decision in itself. I don't know if you ever thought about it that way. But when we choose not to act, that's just like making a decision because you're not acting, right? It's still a decision. So in our work in our professional life, we reflect on decisions that we make or fail to make, not taking a job, not pursuing an upper level position, deciding to leave a position, which I did recently. Maybe it's a work event that you don't attend. And I'll have to tell you, this just happened to me last year. So I am a part of a group of doctors that gets together every quarter, and we discuss cellular medicine, and it's about peptides and about patient care, and it covers different areas of medicine such as GI, neurology, with sports in December. But my first event was in Denver, and I went, and I didn't know anyone at all. And I was nervous. I was going to this event. I didn't know anyone. I was excited to learn some new information. And so the conference is a couple of days, and the first night of the conference, they have a dinner. And, I met people throughout the day and learned a lot and enjoyed it, but I'm an introvert. And so I'm with people all day, I'm learning, and I get back to my hotel room because there's this period of time from the conference ends before they have the dinner. And I contemplated not going. Like I was like, maybe I'll stay in my room and relax and read and just have some quiet time, because that's what I enjoy. And I almost didn't go to the dinner. So I was almost making that decision, not kind of showing up. And also I felt like, I don't really know anyone. And, so I made all these excuses. I always say you want to be stronger than your excuses. And I had all kinds, I'm tired. It's been a long day. I don't know anybody. But I have to tell you, I ended up going to that dinner and I sat at a table with some fascinating people. One was a geneticist. One was a biochemist. I met people there that were surgeons, that were family practice doctors, that were functional medicine. I met just all kinds of really interesting people that were from all parts of the United States that were studying and practicing all types of medicine. And I learned so much in one evening. You know, and it was just amazing to me to think I almost didn't go to that dinner. Like, I came back, I remember telling my husband, I was like, "Oh my gosh, these are my people, like, they totally get my geekiness," and so funny that I almost made the decision not to go. But I wonder now, thinking about my future self and who I'm becoming and who I want to become, I would have never even thought twice about not going to that dinner. Like, I would have just, you know, couldn't wait to get to that dinner to be able to talk and converse and share ideas and learn from other people. I mean, that's how I feel now when we get together. I can't wait until I can learn something new from somebody or bounce something off someone and get their perspective. So, I just think this is a really interesting concept, and it presents itself in our lives in so many different ways. There was another example that happened for me when I first was in training. Like, after I finished my training, I was out practicing medicine, and I had possibly the opportunity to go back and do some more training. And I wasn't in touch with my future self and what was important to me. And so when I had this opportunity, I looked to others. How often do we all do this? We look to others for validation. What should I do? What is your opinion? What would you do? And I don't think there's anything wrong, especially when you're seeking counsel. But in those situations, in the end, we always have to be the decision maker, right? That we have to decide what is best for us. What would our future self want for us? And I didn't know that at the time. So it was easy for me to let someone else tell me what was best or what I should do. Or actually, it was even easier to succumb to those excuses, right? Well, I'm going to have to take a pay cut, or I'll have to move, or it could be difficult, or it won't be what I thought it should be. So often we do what I call fail ahead of time. We give all the reasons why it's not gonna work, and we so often don't look at the reasons why it will work or what good will come from it. And I don't know if you do this, but I think I see this a lot in my patients, especially when it comes to their health. I always challenge them about who are they becoming? Are they laying a ground for health and wellness, or are they laying a ground for disease? A lot of times we think health is expensive. It's expensive to be healthy. It costs more to buy vegetables than it does a Big Mac. And I get that. And I totally understand that frustration. But if we think health is expensive, disease is so expensive, and it's not fun. I mean, who wants disease? It's not the route that patients want to go, but they're going there because they never stop to look at their future self. Like, where are they going? What's going to happen? So, I think it's a great concept, and I wanted to share it with you because we can't wind back the clock. We can't change our decisions that we've made. We can't undo the actions that we've taken or the inaction that we've taken, which is still a decision. But we need to take a moment. Just take a moment and reflect. What comes up for you? What stands out? What makes you take a pause? And I've done that. And it really hits home about what decisions that you make every day that affect who your future self is going to be, right? And are you making those decisions that reflects the future self that you want to become? Like, what do you want to be like when you're 50? How do you want to feel when you're 60? How do you want to act when you're 70? What do you want to do when you're 80? Right? And everything you do now affects what's going to happen when you are 50, 60, 70, and 80 and beyond. So that's why I think it's such a powerful topic and such an important one. So when I decided to leave my practice and go out and start my own practice, it wasn't like I just woke up one day and said, "Oh, today's the day. I'm going to do it. It's time for me to move on." I will tell you that I had this thought since probably 2013 and didn't act upon it. And then I remember I had this thought again around 2015. And then I thought, oh, I need more education. I'm just not qualified enough. There's so many reasons that prevent us from taking action. So it took me 3 years of additional schooling and more board certifications and credentials and certifications. And I mean, it's just crazy how many courses and certifications I've taken just to prove to myself that I think I'm qualified enough to help, right? but I could have probably helped back in 2013 and even 2015, but just wasn't there yet. Like my future self, I didn't see my future self as being that person, right? I wasn't tapped into that. It took 2 years of building a department from the ground up, 0 to no patients to 20 patients a day for me to convince myself that I was ready. It took me contemplating in my head over and over again that I needed to maybe go join this doctor or implement this other doctor's plan of care or concept of an office, you know. And every time I'd come home to my husband, he would say, "When are you just going to do it yourself? Like, when are you just going to take the ball and run with it?" And I always would find a reason why I couldn't. Oh, I'm not ready yet, or it's not a good time, or, so many things come up. And I just want to encourage you that when you're faced with decisions about your health, about your wellness, about your well being, about your life, just take a moment, take a pause, and ask yourself, what would my future self do? If I was already where I wanted to be, what decision would I make? How would I look at this differently? How would I show up? What would I say? What would I do? How would I act? Who would I surround myself with? And when you stop and do it that way, so I started doing that. Like if I had gone out and started my own practice and I was successful and I was helping patients and I was practicing the type of medicine I wanted and seeing the patients and doing sports and doing functional medicine and doing cellular medicine and learning and growing and cultivating a group of doctors that, were on the cutting edge of medicine and learning. And if I was that doctor in my future self, then what decision would I make about going to dinner? I wouldn't think twice about going to dinner. I wouldn't think twice about taking on a new opportunity to learn. I wouldn't think twice about opening up my own practice. I mean, I'd think twice, but I would think, oh, yeah, could be successful. I could do this, right? So for me, it was always about not quite trusting myself enough. It was me failing ahead of time in my brain, like, oh, it's not going to work. It's a bad time. COVID-19 just happened. There's already other doctors doing this medicine and practicing. There's so many ways that we can fail ahead of time. It's scary. I'm not great at managing people. I'll make mistakes. And then there's the feelings that come with all those things. Like, I don't want to feel disappointed. I don't want to feel incompetent. I could feel useless if it doesn't work. It's going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to be scared. It's going to be stressful. I might not have patience. I mean, so many things go through your mind, right? And this is just my scenario of opening a practice. It could be your scenario of losing weight. Like, oh, I've done this before and it didn't work. Losing weight is hard. I won't get to eat the things I want to eat. I won't be able to go to events I want to go to. I can't be healthy and have fun. How often have we told ourselves that? Like, I can't go on a diet and have fun, or I can't eat well and have fun, or this isn't fun. I mean, there's just so many thoughts in our brain that go on that make us then show up a different way. This podcast is brought to you by Orthomolecular Products, the exclusive supplement company of the Wisconsin Institute of Functional Medicine. I have chosen Orthomolecular because they are a leader and an innovator in the functional medicine space since it was founded over 31 years ago. They follow the latest science and combine the highest quality of ingredients to produce effective nutritional solutions for clinicians like myself to use with my patients. They control the entire manufacturing process. They know exactly what is in each capsule, and they offer products free of allergenic additives and preservatives. This is just one of the many reasons I decided to carry Orthomolecular products in my office. You can book an appointment today to learn about how my team and our partners at Orthomolecular can help you reach your health goals when nutraceuticals are needed. You can call us at 920-968-9311 or visit us on our website at wisconsinfunctionalmed.com. It's all one word, wisconsinfunctionalmed.com. We use Orthomolecular products because efficacy and your health really matter. There's another concept that I learned in the life coach training was called the thought model. And the circumstances are always black and white. You really can't argue the circumstances. So it's Wednesday. It's 20 degrees outside. That car color is green. Like, those are circumstances. You can't really argue them. They're just, they are what they are. And then there's thoughts about those circumstances. And that's where we get into trouble because we think the thoughts are real. We think the thoughts are black and white, but they're really just thoughts. And those thoughts lead to feelings. So I had these thoughts that, oh, it's going to be hard to open a practice. Or it might fail. I had the thought that, I might not have patients to see. Maybe patients won't come to my practice. You may have the thoughts that you need to lose weight. So your circumstance might be, your weight is 200 pounds. And in your ideal body weight where you feel healthy is 150. And you might have the thought, weight loss is hard. I can't do this. I haven't been successful before. I won't be able to participate in activities if I have to worry about my weight. I won't be able to eat foods that I like. I'm not going to achieve this goal. You have all these thoughts, and then those thoughts become really real in your brain, but actually they're just thoughts, and you get to choose what you want to think. So then when you have these thoughts, whether they're good or bad thoughts, the only reason a thought is good or bad is does it serve you? Does it give you a result that you want? And that's where I challenge you about thinking about your future self, because when you think about your future self, you're going to have different thoughts about what you do or not do. You have different thoughts about situations, these circumstances that are occurring in your life. And when you have those thoughts, you're going to feel a different way. So remember, I told you when I thought about opening my practice, I didn't want to feel embarrassed. I didn't want to feel disappointed. I didn't want to feel incompetent. I didn't want to feel stressed or uncomfortable. Those are just feelings. And so often we can't sit with those feelings. We just don't want to feel those feelings. And again, taking it back to health, when we think thoughts of, it's going to be difficult to lose weight, it's going to be difficult to be healthy, it might be difficult to start an exercise program. We have all these thoughts in our mind, then we start feeling disappointed, we start feeling resentment, frustration. All these things come up for us. We feel overwhelmed. That's a big one. I see a lot of patients who feel overwhelmed. It's just too much. I can't do it. It's too much to do. And then when we feel those feelings, then we take actions on those feelings. And the actions are not usually the things that get us the result that we want. And that's the rest of the thought model. So circumstances go to thoughts, thoughts go to feelings go to actions or inaction in some cases. And then it ends up with a result. And usually if you choose your thoughts in a way that serve you, then you're going to have feelings that serve you, that are going to lead to actions that serve you, that are ultimately going to lead to a result that serves you. So, did you know that it's really interesting that human beings are wired to avoid failure? We're wired to avoid mistakes, rejection. We're wired to avoid criticism. And we don't really seek that out. We don't go after the things like risk and risk taking. Our brains are twice as sensitive to what could go wrong as to what might go right. And I'm a perfect example. I was doing that for the last 5 years, or I don't know, longer, when I was thinking about opening my own practice. So I was doing what I call failing ahead of time. And I was figuring out every way I could fail before I even started. And that's really tough to face, but we do it. We all do it every day. In our brains, we fail ahead of time. So I'm going to tell you another example of how I failed ahead of time. I actually did a post on this. So it was me on one of those boxes. You know how people do box jumps at the gym, and you'll see them jump up on the box. And some guys can jump on these really tall, box. But anyway, so the first time I went to do a box jump, I was in Arizona, and I was doing more like, what do you call that? CrossFit training. And I was afraid to jump on the box. I did not think I was athletic enough. I thought I was going to fall and, break my shin or scratch my leg. I thought I was going to fall and break my wrist. I thought someone was going to see me fall. I thought I wasn't going to land on the box. I thought I was going to fall forward over the box. I mean, every thought went through my mind, and my feet stayed planted on the ground for almost 15 minutes. I remember I was working with the CrossFit group, and there was like a coach, and she was standing there and she kept encouraging me to just jump. And I just couldn't do it. I mean, it took me 15 minutes to finally get out of my head and to just jump on that box. And so what was happening is in my brain, I was failing ahead of time before I ever gave myself an opportunity to see if I could jump on the box. And I did. I jumped on the box, and box jumps are no big deal for me. I mean, do I take pause before I jump on a box? Absolutely. Every time. And I assess, you know, my athletic ability, but I don't take 15 minutes. I take a second or two. And so, when that comes up for you, something that you want to do, something that you think you want to do, something that you wish you could do, don't fail in your brain ahead of time. Take a moment and ask yourself, what would your future self do? Like if you had already arrived, if you were already jumping up on that box, if you had already accomplished that goal and gotten to the weight that you wanted to be, if you had already gotten that promotion, opened that clinic, made that job change, if you had already accomplished what you wanted to accomplish, and then you could be in the position that you are now and you had to make the decision, what would your future self do and think? A lot of those things that go on, those thoughts that go on in your brain wouldn't even come up. You wouldn't even think twice about them. You would just be, oh, yeah, count me in. I'm going to go. I'm going to go to that dinner and meet some new people. I'm going to jump on that box. I'm going to open that clinic. I'm going to lose that weight. I'm going to take that job. I'm going to go after that experience that I want, So I just want you to think about how often these scenarios come up for you and what would your future self do? And think about the concept of future self when it comes to losing weight, trying a new sport, going to a new event, learning something new, going for a new position or title. Don't fail ahead of time. Don't choose to fail ahead of time. Instead, fail forward. My husband always says that to me, fail forward fast. Don't be afraid to fail. You're going to fail so many times. I mean, he's had a business for 25 years. So me, I'm just starting a business and he's like, oh, you're going to fail. If you're going to worry about that, you're going to drive yourself crazy. Like, just get with it. Just, keep going, keep going, fail, pick up, go, fail, pick up some more, go, fail, just, work through it. That's always the advice he gives me. It's a great advice. We are so afraid to fail. There was actually an article published in Social Psychology and Personality Science, and they found that people who are connected to their future selves are better and able to save for the future. They delay gratification, and they make more considerate decisions that help them live healthier, happier lives with fewer regrets than those who felt less connected to their future self. Isn't that interesting? So the more connected you are to your future self, the healthier, the happier, the less regrets that you have. So take a little time to simply put yourself in the shoes of your distant future self. Think about when you're 90, when you're 100. It's a very illuminating thought and exercise. Try it and then ask yourself through that large lens, who would you be in your future self and what decisions would you make differently if you know what you know? Because it may change the course of your directions of what you do and how you show up. So I use this a lot with my patients when we're talking about weight loss. And I always say, okay, this is where you are and this is where you want to go. So if you weighed 125 pounds, how would you dress? How would you spend your time? What foods would you eat? What decisions would you make? What would be your priorities? And it doesn't matter if it's weight loss, if it's a promotion, if it's opening your own clinic, if it's being a CEO of a big company, if it's whatever it is, what would your future self do? And I think it's also important, and I say this a lot to my patients, is be your biggest cheerleader. Trust yourself. Know that it's okay to take care of yourself, and self-care is important. Be committed, be curious, be courageous. Be a lifelong learner. And most importantly, be stronger than your excuses. Be stronger than those thoughts that you have in your brain that make you fail ahead of time. Because I know your future self will thank you. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you give this concept some thought. It's a little bit different, but it definitely plays into your health, weight, wellness, and well-being. Have a great day. This is an important reminder. The podcast is for educational purposes only and is not a diagnosis or a prescription for care. Please consult with your healthcare practitioner before moving forward with any of the therapies or treatments discussed in today's podcast. If today's topic resonated with you and you want more information, please check out our website, wisconsinfunctionalmed.com. All one word, wisconsinfunctionalmed.com. Also, for those of you who want further assistance with weight loss, consider our online weight loss program called The Pause, which can be found under Services. We really focus on helping you reach your weight loss goals. We provide a supportive and interactive and engaging environment, which is led by me, Dr. Tracy Page, so you can get all the help you need. Remember, you can change the way you age, and I'm here to help.